I have one for Reka Bird. For Reka, I have one. Yes, I have one. I have one. A comment for Bert / Reka, Reka / Bert. If Bert was here, I just wanted to make a correction that I have seen Al just drunk. And what it looks like, it would be an eidetic variation unto itself. So.
Give me the date and the hour.
I guess
Okay.
Al just would not admit it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to continue the same similar question. I think it's very important from the phenomenological thinking of you. And my question is again to go through Reka or vice versa. But okay, that's I thought in this presentation about gods. How does phenomenological thinking depends on gods, and what kind of gods? I mean that does intentions of phenomenologists depends from gods. For example, Dionysius presupposes joy, dancing, drinking, unification with cosmos. It's absolutely algis mitskunas. It's the same, but he preferred the last time to speak more about Shiva or about Vedic gods. What's happened, I would say. And is it conflict between phenomenologists who prefer different gods? Some of them may be Dionysian, and then the others more strong, probably, gods they prefer. Is conflict between them based on the gods?
You're asking if there's a conflict between the gods?
No, about conflict between phenomenologists who pray for different gods.
Oh. But I think Al just never prays.
Drinking is pray for Dionysius.
Oh, I see. But I think for Algis, probably drinking will be, it's like what he says, I'm answering for him, I guess. For him it'll be like, drinking is me and me is drinking, that's what probably he'll say. And I don't think he will call it as pray.
Do you mean Zen? Zen of drinking? It's not Dionysian? This is the question.
Oh, that Algis should answer probably. All right.
I have a little bit of personal knowledge on these issues. Sartre famously said, "We figured everything out except how to live." And when I was a philosophy major undergraduate in the United States, I don't know about here, but in the United States, you can take everything in high school, calculus, geometry, psychology, sociology, history, you name it, but no philosophy. They don't teach philosophy in high school in the United States. Why? I was in something called honors tutorial at OU, and the chair, Warren Ruckty, I took symbolic logic with him, and Ruckty got a little grant from a high school there in Athens to try an experiment, to teach philosophy in high school. And he said, "You come with me." So me and Ruckty, we went to the high school and we tried to teach philosophy, and it was a disaster. Parents were calling out of the woodwork, what's this about atheism? What's this about, the looking at the prime mover? What are you doing? All this stuff. And the problem with philosophy, you guys, is that it's disturbing. It disrupts the natural attitude. And so the experiment was cut short. We were kicked out. And I remember the superintendent and one of the the chair of the PTA, the Parent Teacher Association, was there, and they were arguing with Rukti and saying, "You're out, get out, you know, you're upsetting the children, you're upsetting everybody." And the chair of the parent board looked at Rukti and said, "What are you going to teach them anyway? The meaning of life?" And Rukti said something that was very, very McCune-esque. He said, "No, we're going to teach them how to make life meaningful." And we got up and walked out. And so drinking. I remember one time I asked Algis, "What is the meaning of life?" And he said, "A good cup of coffee in the morning."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Let me maybe try to address that question also. There are some things I probably should not say, but, and I won't. I'll try to be nice. Maybe there's the Dionysian phenomenologists, maybe the Apollonian phenomenologists, but of course they're both Greek. So you maybe have two sides of the same coin. You have different kind of spirits, if you will. Take that metaphorically for each one of those gods. But you'll also notice that in Western philosophy we have the god Hermes becomes a part of the phenomenology as well. But then we also have the Catholic phenomenology, and we have the Christian phenomenology, and their gods seem to govern how they operate. So yes, the gods do have a difference in the kind of tone that I think is somewhat set, and how they get shaded in different ways. But maybe it's still a version of one world. So no matter who your god is, how is it that they're, in what world are they pointing to? And I guess the question would be, would that be a world you'd like to live in? And so that might be an answer to the question.
Yes.
I would just like to perhaps put the rest of the myth that Algis is drinking. There was only one time of the, shall we say several times, that Dr. McCoonus and I happened to share a beverage that, this was at his home, that he, believe it or not, pushed the glass away. And yeah, go ahead, you know. I had started drinking more than 100 proof bourbons at his house. And I remember one day I brought a bottle with me and I set it down and said, "Let's have a drink." And it was, "Oh, okay, let's go, let's try." And he, one glass, shot, 2 shots, 3 shots. He started lifting that 4th shot and said, "No, I think that's enough for now."
There's one other thing I want to add here. A lot of people here have been inspired by Al, and he does enjoy to imbibe once in a while, and we share cigars. But one of the reasons why I think I was trapped in his orbit, his gravitational pull, was because as a freshman I used to walk up this hill from my dorm that went right past the philosophy building. And I remember going up with my buddies as an undergraduate, heading for the bars, hoping for sex, usually without any success. But I remember coming back from the bars at 2 in the morning and looking up, and his light was on, and he was sitting at his typewriter. So I want to stress that one of the things that impressed me about Algis and pulled me in was his work ethic. He is a mule. He is always working. And so it may look like he's having fun, and he is. There is a lot of joy, but there's also a lot of heavy lifting there.
I want to share something. I have the word now. I have the time. I can spend
whatever time I want. Dictator, yeah, from Latin America. No, but last time several years ago after meeting Algis, I was in a party. And I remember one owner of a newspaper was drinking, but heavily drinking, right? And I was drinking my Coke, right? At the end he told me he was totally drunk. And he asked me, what do you do in order not to get drunk? I am drinking Coke, you know? And he told me, but you are also singing, dancing, and everything like everybody else. Oh, yes, I was happy, you know? And so I don't drink a drop. And I think what I learned from Alice was the happiness of living a philosophical life. I mean, Alice, you remember the Fridays, you know? Those mythical Fridays, you know? In which one discussion, playing with the ideas, concepts, and things like that. And now in Spanish, I find myself reproducing Alice's attitude, something like that. So I would say that is, in my case, the main teaching of Alice. You know, I have made some crazy things in the last year, you know, but I'm happy. I guess that I remember one day I was in Alice's class, and I was looking at the ceiling of the room. Oh my goodness, how it looks so contingent. You know? I can do whatever I want. And so I think that playfulness of thought is the thing that I always. And actually, I am thinking that is the secret of a young life with Alice. Is that I get that he every morning reads something, gets a new idea, he discovers again the wonder of life, and so that's the good recipe to remain young, right?
A little remark about work and drinking. Ordinary students who follows Algis, they separate these two things. The ordinary think that drinking is not playfulness and work work is not playfulness and drinking. That's they separate. Algis ordinary do it continuously and integrally. And I would say that this is and everybody who do the same needs a lot of power. And this is the point, the question of integral or internal power, because Algis sometimes in the seminars and summer schools drink at 5 a.m. and he started, his lectures from 8 a.m. Actually, to do the same, it's a big challenge for the students. Ordinary who spent with him night and never come to his lecture. And those who come to his lecture couldn't feel the same playfulness because they lost the night. This is the problem of the students. In order to be a student of him, you need to be very powerful.
I didn't you want to respond? I'll just.
Well, while we're laughing, why not? Gindas mentioned many gods. My colleagues are analytic school in-course philosophers, and they all are devout atheists. I mean, you have to be devout atheist. You have to confess. So once they asked me, Algis, are you a believer? I said, no. So you're an atheist? No. Are you agnostic? I said, no. So what else is there? I said, I don't understand your questions. So when somebody asks you about a God, what do you say? I love all of them, especially the goddesses. And they are all fantastic artworks. And I love to study art. That's the divine part of life.
Oh, I guess lunch. I invite you to lunch.
You're inviting us? I mean, you'll be saying
No,
that.
but you will pay, okay? You will pay.
Okay, we have a lunch break, 1 hour.